Welcome to the Voice of Houston. I'm your co-host, Bobby Mills, and today we have a very, very special guest with us, Mark McNeil from the World Harvest Community-Oriented Church in the Sunnyside area. Download our free app, UHN-TV. You can also watch us on Roku TV, and keep our co-host, Dr. Clara Brent, lifted up in prayer. Mark, welcome to the show.
Good morning.
It's good to have you. You are some kind of stellar-looking young man. Tell us about yourself and what you do professionally and what your role is in the World Harvest Church.
Right.
In the area, and also what pastoral kinds of activities your church gets involved in. I know recently we did the free kind of giveaway with the church community, and there were a lot of people involved and so forth in terms of technology and Wi-Fi capability apps and so forth. Yes. So tell us just a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I attend the World Harvest Outreach Church. It's located in Sunnyside. I've been attending there since the mid-'90s. And we really wanted to, after the pandemic, wanted to really focus on doing community outreach, connecting with the community. We know it's needs in that community. And we want to go back to the old days when the church was it was kind of the epicenter of the community.
Amen.
And so we want to go back to that type of model. And so we're doing programs with individuals like yourselves in Sunnyside to try to uplift the people.
Well, good. So give us a little bit about what's going on in the Sunnyside area in terms of development and how you got urban renewal, gentrification, et cetera, taking place, and the displacement of historic kinds of entities. So what's taking place in the area now?
I think right now it's going on in a lot of black communities here in Houston and around the country, urban communities where gentrification is starting to take place.
Negro removal.
If you want to be blunt, yeah, that's exactly what it is. And so we've been kind of studying it because we really want to make sure that the people in the community understand how it affects them and what's going on. Sometimes the politicians are, dealing with so many issues, things like that don't really get the attention that it needs. And so we wanted to try to start educating the community on how this affects you, because a lot of people really don't know. They don't even know how this came about, this gentrification. Who's doing it? Why are they doing it? And how it affects us. So we're trying to educate and share with the community. This is how you
It's all about land.
Yes.
It's all about land.
Definitely.
We can build more houses, high rises, etc. But the one thing we cannot build is land.
Yeah, that's it.
All the land that has been created has already been created by God, and unfortunately we have not learned how to share with one another. So recently we tried to uplift the nonprofit organization that I deal with, your community. We gave away a lot of hotspots in order for young people and seniors to be able to connect to the internet and so forth. So what are some of the things that are taking place in relationship to historic entities in the Sunnyside area that are being decimated and redeveloped in terms of other kinds of commercial activities rather than people having residential and historic kinds of symbols that have been long-standing in the community?
Yes. I think that's kind of been the most alarming thing that we've noticed. It's a lot of history, great history that comes from Sunnyside that is going to be erased if nobody stands up and fight to protect it. I talk to a lot of young people in that community, and they really don't know the history. That's why it's important that we preserve our history, because they think what they're seeing in that Sunnyside community is what it's been forever. This is what it's been: high crime, low unemployment, high unemployment, and Sunnyside hadn't always been a community like that. It was a thriving community in the '80s, even in the early '90s, and so we want to try to protect that, because in order to get young people to value who they are, where they come from, they have to know the past, and we want to make sure that they know that past.
Right, because if you obviously don't know where you came from, you're not going to be able to chart a positive course of direction for future development and future, generations. But let me ask you this. What role do you see your church playing in this new phase of trying to prevent the total destruction and gentrification of the area of Sunnyside? What role do you see your church playing?
I think the biggest role we play that I see is a lack of is getting information out. It's plenty of resources that can protect people from being affected by gentrification. But if they don't know about those resources, then they won't know how to activate them or take advantage of them. So that's one of the things that we want to do, is make sure that we get that information to them.
Well, do you guys have, let's say, in your church community, a way that you can help people keep track of? Because a lot of times, elderly people pass their property on from one generation to the next, but then that generation, they may have moved to California, New York, or elsewhere. They have not kept up with the taxes and so forth. And the next thing you know, someone comes in, either a governmental entity or a private individual, and get the land basically for little or nothing, because so much back taxes have been accrued on the land because of non-payment and so forth. So are there ways that you guys trying to deal with that problem?
I think it goes back to education again. If you look at Bel Air, you look at Memorial, you'll notice that when those homes become older, then now you start seeing a lot of homes being remodeled because they know the value of those homes.
Right.
Like in Sunnyside, those homes that in the 70s, they met the elderly people that are older people now may have purchased those homes for like $17,000. Now the value of that home or that property, if it's remodeled and brought up to date, it may be worth $300,000.
Yeah.
But the young people that they leave it to, they don't understand the value. So they'll just take the quick, whatever somebody comes and I'm pretty sure you're aware these companies are always calling, trying to buy your property. And they'll take the quick money, the $40,000, $50,000, and don't realize they got a property that could be valued at $350,000. And they'll just sell it for $50,000. The developer come in and build a home there, price it at $350,000, and he'll make that $350,000.
Or come in and build a convenient gas station type situation on the corner in order to really, take money out of the community. Because they certainly not going to live in the community.
No.
They're going to take the money out and then they're going to live, elsewhere. Well, I understand what you're talking about, because I have control over some of my grandparents' property, because, I had cousins and so forth. We all left and went, different places and so forth, from where we grew up and was born. But, I had the common sense enough, not to allow the property of my grandparents, and then I have also control over the property of one of my uncles, because I had, first cousins and so forth. They wouldn't, take care of things. So, I just came in and went ahead and invested what resources I needed to invest in order to protect it and pay the taxes every year, and then put it as a part of my family estate. So when God calls me in, it just goes on, to my children and to my grandchildren, and I've tried to ensure that legally they can't sell it.
Right.
You pass it on.
Yeah, it stays in the family.
To someone, as well, in remembrance of, my grandparents and, my uncle that, were hardworking people and very, very close to me. Also, tell me about what you do professionally in terms of trying to get a lot of our athletes involved in mentoring and helping young people in our community.
Yes, I've been representing professional athletes since the late '90s, and I had the opportunity to go through the process of seeing an athlete make $60-70 million, and at the end of his career, broke. Yeah, and so looking at our community, and that's one of the greatest sources of income for our community, sports and entertainment.
Right.
And I was like, man, I want to switch my focus more on teaching them how to better manage this money, because it could have a huge impact on the black economy.
Right.
Just in Houston, I probably know at least 5 players that have made together over $1 billion, but they have no impact on the economy here. They don't own anything. And it's sad that
That's sad.
Yeah, that we would allow that to happen, and it doesn't happen in any other culture. The Asians, the Jewish, it's just ours.
No.
And so that's kind of been my focus, and teaching them. They did a survey. They did a survey with some professional athletes and asked them what is the thing that they enjoy the most. By being having all this wealth and having this material thing, and they were saying being able to help other people. And a lot of people wouldn't think that, but naturally the way God has created us is to be, to help others. We're supposed to love things. We're supposed to love people, not things.
That's right.
And so, we realize that they do want to give back, but they're not trained. They don't know how to create a foundation.
Right.
They don't know how to go in the community and set up a program or a survey and see what's needed for that community. They don't know how to do that.
Impact.
Yes.
And
yes.
Make the money work for them rather than them working for money.
Yes.
I know exactly what you're talking about. When I was growing up, we had a kind of common sense phrase about life. And a part of that common sense phrase was we would always say to one another when we were in high school that there are 4 dangerous forces in this world. Mm-hmm. And the first and most powerful dangerous force is acts of nature. Storms, hurricanes,
Yes.
And if the weather officials give you warning, like last night we had a little storm to come through here and I was out and got kind of caught in it. Mm-hmm. So acts of nature, storms, the weatherman tells you that it's on the horizon, prepare, get out of the way, etc. And then the second most dangerous force in the world is a Caucasian man that thinks he knows, but he doesn't know. He's very dangerous.
Yes.
Yeah, we had one of those as president of the United States. So you get a person that thinks he knows and he doesn't know. You can't tell him anything. You got a problem on your hand.
No question.
And the third most dangerous force, and this was kids when we were coming along, now high school kids. Mm-hmm. We said the third most dangerous force in the world was a Negro with a credit card. Because he would charge up charge if charge could be charged. Yes. He just go out just spending money without understanding one day the bill is going to come.
Yes.
And the money's got to be repaid. And then we would always crack jokes about people who drive. We said, well, the fourth most dangerous force in the world is an individual with a driver's license that can't drive.
That's dangerous.
Yeah, dangerous. That's an accident that's looking for a place to happen.
Yes.
So we would always crack them jokes when we were in high school about, life in general and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell you one thing, Mark, how do you envision the idea of revitalization and redevelopment of our historic communities like Sunnyside and Acres Home and 3rd Ward and 5th Ward, utilizing individuals who have access to resources and have resources, like the people that you represent, athletes.
Mm-hmm.
How do you envision really getting them involved so that they not only can look back, but they can give back?
Mm-hmm.
How do you envision that kind of process?
I think the number one thing that you have to do is put together a plan. If they can see the plan, that how we're gonna make all these things happen from point A to point B, that's one way of doing it. And then really educating on the importance of individuals that did make an impact in our community. It was intentional. It was a plan. It was a network. No, it wasn't accidental. It just didn't happen by accident. And a group of influencers got together and said, we're going to make an impact on this part of our culture, our community, or whatever it is they wanted to change. And they made it happen. And I think with the resources that we have as far as economics coming into our community, we're the number one spenders in this country.
No question about it.
So we got the resources. God has given us the resources. And until we become better managers.
We have money,
yes,
as a group of people. But what we don't have is institutional wealth.
Right.
And even today, the whites who are so hell-bent on destroying this country and thinking about minority groups taking them over and all of that, what those same white people do not understand is that they have 400 years of institutional wealth that they have passed on from one generation to the next. And it is no way on the face of this earth that black people, Hispanic people, Orientals, or any other ethnic cultural group of individuals can overcome the institutional wealth that white people have.
Yes.
So even if the majority population in American society becomes black and brown, white people will always control the economic structure of the society. That's what they don't understand, because most of them who are out here, they are being motivated by people who are non-thinkers and got them thinking with their emotions rather than the intellect and the logic of their minds. Because all you got to do is look at it realistically. If black people were a nation in America, we would be among the top wealthiest nations in the world.
Yes.
If we were a nation,
yes,
in terms of money.
Yeah.
But we don't have wealth.
No, we don't own anything.
Because as soon as we get it,
we spend it.
We spend it.
Yeah, we don't save nothing.
We buying clothes, and as soon as you buy some clothes and come out of the store with them and put them on, value is what? Gone.
No.
Only thing you can do with it after you wear them for a while, give them to Goodwill or somebody else and so forth.
Yep.
So you can go buy a $3,000 suit or money or whatever and so forth. As soon as you put it on and get out of that store.
But I think we've had different times in our culture where we had to come together.
Right.
If you look at the Black Wall Street in I think it's 1910, 1920.
Right.
Where blacks
in Oklahoma.
Yes, in Oklahoma and in Florida.
Right.
Where blacks pool their resources came together.
That's why the white people had to wipe them out.
Burn them out. Yeah, burn them. Yes, because the white people are always they have to have somebody to oppress in order to take advantage of somebody.
Right.
And so they're, and especially with us as African Americans, they know the power. You know, we love the great gifts that we have. We're the only culture that could start a whole hip hop culture, and the whole world is now a part of the hip hop culture.
Right.
We're the only people that have that kind of influence, and they know that. And I think that comes from way back when God created man.
That's the gift of God.
Mm-hmm. That's a gift He gave of influence, but it was supposed to be used to bring people to Christ.
Okay. Yeah.
But we use it,
to glorify
other things. Yes.
Well, we glorify the devil.
Well, yeah, if you want to be blunt, yeah, it's the devil. That's exactly what it is.
Because we are here glorifying vanity.
Yes.
And when you glorify vanity, you glorifying the devil. Because the devil tried to trick Jesus.
Oh yeah, he's a master deceiver.
Jesus, hey, look here, if you do so and so and so and so about out of me, I'm gonna get it. And so Jesus said, hey, look here, how you gonna give me what I already own? Exactly. So we have that problem going on today. And then when you look at our young people across America today, it's a sad commentary.
Yeah.
When you look at young black men and women, because of the way we are growing up, our children, generation after generation. We done lost 2 generations of young people.
I think the reason why we're in the position that we're in now is when we came out of segregation, that's my era, the baby boomers, we were all taught to go to that white college, move to that white neighborhood, get yourself to the top of the mountain. And if you look at my generation of Magic Johnsons, Michael Jordans, Oprah's, Tyler Perry's, they're getting themselves to the top of the mountain, but they're not bringing the people together.
Not pulling up.
Yeah, like the Martin Luther Kings did. I mean, even the Muhammad Ali's and those individuals who, if it wasn't going to be right for everybody, then I don't even want to. I don't want to. Yes, I don't want any parts of it.
Well, I tell you one thing. I lost all respect. When you mentioned Martin Luther King's name, I lost all respect for T.D. Jakes back a few years ago when he said publicly that he was a successful man, but Martin Luther King died as an unsuccessful man. I don't know whether you remember that. T.D. Jakes said that. He said that Martin Luther King died as an unsuccessful man, but he was a successful man because his net worth was $20-some million.
Wow.
Now, common sense would tell you, here's a man who claims to represent Jesus Christ, a man who wasn't born in no motel, Holiday Inn, but was born in a stable on the ground because there wasn't no room for him there.
Yep.
And this man was God, wrapped up in flesh, but there wasn't no place for him. Now, he died for our sin, your sin, my sin, and the sins of the world.
No question.
And even on the cross with 2 thieves, one on each side, one thief said, if you claim to be, if you are who you say you are, get yourself down and get me down too.
Save us all, yeah.
Yeah, save us. The other thief said, look, shut up.
Right.
I know I'm guilty.
Yes.
Of everything they got me up here for, and even some things they didn't know.
They missed, yeah.
They missed. And so he said to Jesus, when you get in your kingdom, remember me. And Jesus told him, this day
Oh, yeah.
Not tomorrow, not some other, this day. Now, when Jesus died for his sins, your sins, my sins, the sins of the world, he had to be buried in a borrowed man's tomb. He didn't even have anywhere to be buried.
Yes.
He never rode in a Mercedes or Rolls Royce. The one time he rode in on a donkey, they said Hosanna, Hosanna, and then they killed him. Okay. Now, you say that you're preaching about this man's life. Now, this is T.D. Jakes.
Right.
You say you preaching about this man's life and what he did for you and me and the world and future generations. You say you preaching about him. Now, he died a poor man.
Yeah.
Now, Martin Luther King was assassinated because he fought for your right, your civil rights, my civil rights, your human rights, and the civil rights and the human rights of every individual in America and in the world. And the middle class people that's sitting up in that church giving you tens of thousands of dollars a year for you to control, they're all there because of the life,
Yes.
the suffering, and the death of Martin Luther King.
Yep.
Now, what is it that you preaching? What kind of message are you having toward us as a nation, toward us as a people,
Yes.
when you say about Martin Luther King that he was an unsuccessful man? Now, you don't even have the common sense to understand that after Martin Luther King's death, his children sold his papers and his works, his messages, his sermons, his books. They sold all of that for millions. Sold it for so much money, they was even fighting over the money.
Yes.
Some of them, he even got the Nobel Peace Prize for $1 million.
Wow.
And when he got the Nobel Peace Prize, he didn't take the money from Martin Luther King. He didn't even take the money for himself. He gave it to the organization.
Yep.
The money was given to him personally, but he said, no, I don't want it.
Yes.
Because the only reason why, I have the Nobel Peace Prize, you're giving it to me, is because of the organization and what we've been able to do. So he gave the money to them. Now this man, ain't no way in the world you can have no respect for no T.D. Jakes. If you are a thinking
Yes.
Christian individual, I don't care what color you are, it's no way in the world you can have respect for a man that would say that kind of statement in a church to middle class people that are there because Martin Luther King fought, bled, and died for the Civil Rights Bill of 1964 and the Voting Rights Bill of 1965 so that they could sit in there and give you thousands of dollars in their money suits.
I think the thing that I really admire about somebody like Martin Luther King, he was young. He had young kids. And he knew he was going to die.
He knew his life was on the line.
None of us would be willing to, we were thinking about our kids. I don't want to leave my kids. At 33, I sure don't want to die. But he didn't let none of that stop him from, completing his mission.
Well, he predicted his own death.
Yep.
Night before he was killed, he said, hey, I done been to the mountaintop.
Yep.
I done looked over on the other side.
Yes.
I ain't worried about no crazy white man killing me.
No.
Because I was born to die.
Yes.
It's just a matter of when.
Right.
I don't know when. Now, I'm not willing to kill myself. I want to live.
Yeah.
We all want to live a long life, have longevity.
Yes.
But the thing about it is what? What is the will of God for your life? And that's for each one of us individually to discern. What is the will of God for you? What is the will of God for me? What is that God called us and created us to do? And we know that part of the will of God is that we got to learn how to climb the Jacob ladder to heaven.
Yes.
You know, so if you ain't climbing the Jacob ladder to heaven, you don't understand the will of God.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the biggest commission God gave us to go and make disciples of men, but help those that can't help themselves.
Right. Well, I tell you one thing. It's been a pleasure being with you, Mark.
Definitely.
We all understand the seriousness of gentrification and what's taking place in our society, and how it is that we need to redevelop our community. So thank you for coming on and sharing that word with us. God bless you, Houston. Keep your paper in your car. Drive carefully. Have a great day.